last year, BYU had a great season. They played very, very well. One of the reasons why was your defense, and you're one of the leaders of that defense. Tell us a little bit about last year and the growth of the BYU Cougars.
Man, last year we took a lot of learning steps forward. I feel like we took more steps forward than we did backwards last year for sure. Especially being such a young defense. We played so many freshmen and sophomores last year that pretty much our whole defense is returning minus a couple of DBs and linemen. But other than that, our team is looking really solid right now. And, we're excited to show, the strides that we've been able to make this offseason as well as what we learned from last season.
Talk about your coach in Kalani Sitake, one of the most unique coaches in college football, very fiery personality, very passionate. Talk about your experience just playing for him and what you like most about his coaching style.
Kalani as you said, he's a very great coach. He's very unique in the way that he approaches his players. And it's actually built a very home atmosphere at BYU, which is what I think draws a lot of us players into it. And the way that he has been able to bond with us has brought up this loyalty and this passion in us. We reflect our coaches, as players. And, Kalani Sitake, you see him on the sideline, he's just as fired up as we are. So I think that's been able to carry over into a lot of our games as we've been able to carry on that passion and that fire that he brings.
When you look at the defense and really what college football is all about, and I know a lot of people talk about the offensive style, the spread offense, you spread out the wide receivers, you spread out the running backs, and I think it really is a lost art. Defense is a lost art when it comes to football. You see it in the NFL, but the linebacker position is so very important. That's where the leadership skills, the middle linebacker, the outside linebacker, and the transition of the game of calling plays, audibling the plays at the line of scrimmage. Tell us a little bit about the leadership skills that you have on the BYU Cougars.
In the past, I've kind of been the quiet leader for BYU. I've been more of a person that kind of does my work, does my thing, and I know that other dudes see what I'm doing and they try to follow after me. And I try to bring them along with me in my process as well. But when I got moved to linebacker, that required a lot more vocal leadership from me. And so as I've grown and matured in that position, I've learned how to, ultimately be a leader on the defense and be able to bring people and rally them, as well as be vocal about changes or anything during the game or what I'm seeing on the field. And so I feel like being one of the biggest upsides of me becoming a linebacker is me learning how to vocalize what I see and vocalize what I need to see from other people, as well as myself. And so being a linebacker has really helped me to become that vocal leader and be able to speak out and help the team out in that way.
In addition to being one of the most important in terms of the signal calling, it's also one of the most well-rounded positions. You need to do a lot of different things at the linebacker position. So, two-part question. One, what do your coaches stress you do the most and have you do the most in their defensive playbook? And two, what is your favorite aspect of the linebacker position?
My coaches in where I was playing at in the flash position at linebacker, it's pretty much a safety position, but I'm in the box and lined up as a linebacker. And so what they asked me to do was really just be a playmaker and, kind of just trust my instincts and be able to go out there and come up as fast as I can on the run, but also be aware of the pass, which is actually my favorite part of the aspect of being a flash linebacker is being able to cover and show my man defense. Because being able to show that you can play in the box with the 300-pounders and be able to move out and play against the 180-pounders and cover them in the open field, I feel like that's able to showcase a lot of my athletic ability and my instincts and, the hard work that I've put in to become that type of athlete.
We are talking to BYU Cougars linebacker Chaz Oyu. Now, I'll tell you this, Chaz, when you look at the way you play the position, and I watch a lot of college football, but I watch a lot of NFL football, and the speed that you have and the athletic ability that you have, you could play multiple positions in the NFL. You could be a linebacker, you could be a middle linebacker, you could be an outside linebacker because you can get to the quarterback, and you can play safety. Now, have you ever thought if you do decide to or you have the opportunity to play in the NFL, you can play multiple positions in the NFL?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I hope that, the NFL scouts have been able to see that as well. From being where I'm at, I played corner and safety so far, or safety and linebacker in my college career, but I've played, a lot of things in my past as well. So, I have that background in multiple positions. And moving on into the NFL, Fred Warner was playing the exact position that I was playing, and now he's playing Mike backer. And you see him playing man defense even on receivers. And so I feel like I'm able to show that versatility of, being able to go inside in the middle of the box and be able to come up and take on polars and linemen, as well as move back to safety and be able to play in the open field with some of the fastest dudes in the league.
Fred Warner has become one of the most talented young linebackers in football, especially in coverage and specifically in man coverage. What parts of his game when he played there in BYU with you helped you grow your game the most?
Yeah, so I was behind Fred my whole freshman year, and man, I soaked up everything that he was doing. The number one thing that Fred has over a lot of other athletes is his work ethic. I don't think people understand how much time that dude spends in the weight room after practice or on the field after practice. And that's for sure the number one part of his game that I took in, and I'm trying to, mold into my own is his work ethic. As far as on the field play, Fred was just so instinctful with how he played the game, where he didn't have to be the fastest guy or the strongest guy. He was just always in the right spot. And so I know that he did that from film study and all of that stuff. So I'm trying to, take all of that in and be able to learn from what he did at BYU and try to build on it.
Now, Chaz, I'm a dancer, and I like to have a little bit of fun on the field. And I don't know, man. I watched a couple of BYU games last year, and unfortunately, I don't see any of you guys having fun when you're scoring touchdowns. Why don't you push the guys over there to have a little bit of fun on the field? I mean, you look like the type of guy that likes to have fun. Why don't you do that, man? I want to see BYU. I want to see something on ESPN one day where Chaz Oyu is dancing, intercepts the ball, picks six, runs it in for a touchdown, and dances around, does the worm or something like that. What is it when as a player? And you see different players play against you defensively, offensively, and you have the opportunity to watch these players do the things that they do. What is the most impressive thing that you have seen so far being a college player on the field playing Division I football?
Man, the most impressive, you're talking like as far as fun-wise or just athlete-to-athlete-wise?
Athlete-to-athlete, fun-wise. What is the most craziest, impressive thing that you have seen so far as a college player?
Man, you see a lot of things. I would say the most impressive thing I've ever seen is playing against LSU, and those big boys do not move like big boys are supposed to move. Those guys can move with speed and just this raw, vicious tenacity to them that I've never seen before, especially as a freshman coming in. Man, that was super eye-opening to me. Because, not all of those guys are playing in the league, but, they're some of the best dudes in college football that they have. And those guys went crazy. Playing against LSU, if you watch their swag and stuff that they have on the field, that's something that I want to bring to BYU coming this next year. And it's coming, we're trying to bring that fun atmosphere to the game here at BYU. We're just trying to weed out the guys that, aren't really in love with the game like we are. So I feel like once we get a whole squad of guys that love the game as much as I do and as much as a lot of the other players on the team, BYU is going to be all over ESPN with our celebrations, with everything, man. I'm already telling you right now.
Well, I want to see the champagne. I want to see the wine, man. I want to see some dances, man. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. You'll see it. You can mark my word on that.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be calling you, man. I'm going to be sending you emails, man. So you better be dancing on that damn field.
We will for sure.
Chaz, you had an uncle that played in the NFL in CJ Ayu. He played for the Bills and then he played for the Rams for a while. What did you learn most from him? He was a pass rusher, a little different than you being a hybrid type player, but what did you learn the most from your father? And also, what are some of the experiences you had when you were a kid with your father and his teammates as well? Some of the most interesting things you encountered.
Yeah, so my uncle CJ, he's been probably one of my number one mentors for me going throughout this whole process, from high school all the way up through college. And he's really taught me a lot about how I'm supposed to carry myself as a college athlete. Because I know in high school everyone has these stigmas or these, I wouldn't say stigmas, but these expectations of what being a college athlete is like. And it is nothing like what any high school athlete thinks it is. And so he was kind of able to put me on game with that. And I've tried my best to follow his advice and everything that I've done. But I would say as far as how to carry myself as an athlete is what I've learned a lot from him. But the experiences that I've had with my dad growing up has really molded me into the player that I am. My dad, if there's anyone that knows football, it's my dad. That man knows football in and out. He will learn systems, and I truly believe that my dad deserves to be a Division I football coach with the knowledge that he has. But the experiences that I've had growing up, being able to travel with my dad when he was coaching down at Snow College and at Utah, those are memories that you'll always have. Especially when Utah beat Alabama in that Sugar Bowl in 2008. That's a memory that's molded in my brain, and that's something that I want to experience as a college athlete myself. And so, I keep that image in the back of my head, and it's something that drives me because that's something I want to see for myself in reality.
We are talking to BYU Cougars linebacker Chaz Oyu. Now, Chaz, I'm looking at some of the players on your roster this year, and if there is a season, is there a particular player besides yourself that's going to really stand out, which is going to turn into a superstar this year on BYU?
A player that I feel like is going to be a
superstar, a standout this year going into the season, if there is a season.
Man, there's a lot to pick from. Man, there's a few dudes I can give a shout out to right now.
Go ahead, give them out.
There's one dude I feel like is really going to stand out as a sophomore is Blake Freeland. That man is just a freak of nature when it comes to his athletic ability. With his size and his weight, he reminds me a lot of the LSU linemen where he can move with speed and he doesn't look like an offensive lineman when he's moving around on the field. And so I'm really impressed with his athletic ability. On the defensive side, and I got to give a shout out to our whole D linemen. I feel like our D linemen this year are going to be some of the stars on the team. They're going to be making some of the big plays that we need. And there's a lot of underdogs coming up, like Gabe Summers, who's going to be coming, and Saleti Feviliaki. He's a baller too. Kyrus Conley, you already know about Kyrus. Kyrus is a baller.
What was that name? How do you pronounce his name? The last guy that you said? Feviliaki? What is his name?
Saleti Feviliaki.
All right, here's what we're going to do. I want you to say that name 3 times as fast as you can. Go ahead.
Saleti Feviliaki. I can't even do it. I got one in me. That's all I can do.
That's a tongue twister, man. If you want to get somebody, you want to make some money, you go to the lunchroom over there at BYU and say, you know what? I dare you. I bet you $10 or $50 that you can't say this name 3 times as fast as you can. I think you'd be rich at the end of the day, man.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I'm going to have to take you up on that.
I'm telling you, man. As soon as you said that, I was like, I'm very bad. Chaz, I don't know if you're a fan of our show, and I hope that you do become a fan of our show. I am so bad with names. Everybody says when you interview people, just make sure. I got my producer sitting right next to me. He gives me the pronunciation of your name, like Oyu. You know what I mean? So I have to have it pronounced because some of these names are just. Have you ever looked at a hockey name? Have you ever tried to pronounce a hockey name? Some of these Russian kids, they
oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, Kaplunskis or something like that, or Kaplunski or something like. I can't even pronounce it, and then I get them on the show. It's like, are you serious? You can't pronounce my name? I say, I don't think half the people can pronounce your name. So when you said that name, I was like, what the heck is that? But anyways,
I fumble his name every time I say it. He already knows I can't say his name. So we're already good on that.